To come up with his family. And I'll say just a couple things about Tommy, and then I'll recognize the mayor, and he's going to come down and read the resolution and give Tommy his gold watch, although the mayor said he switched out a watch with the old watch that he had, so you better check the box before you go out the door.
Yeah, I traded my old one out, but I didn't know you were going to tell him.
Sorry, Mayor, hold your thunder. So really, I just wanted to say how grateful we are to Tommy and the service he's provided to the citizens. 29 years is a long, long career, and he's done a great job for Monroe. You would think, as you reach that 29, 30-year mark, you might start letting off the gas pedal a little bit. That hasn't been Tommy. I'd say the last year working with him, we've probably tackled some of the more difficult projects, big projects, and Tommy never missed a beat. So what a compliment to him that even though he's getting toward the end, he's still willing to work hard every day for the citizens. So just want to thank him for his service. His retirement party is a week from Friday, so it's at the 14th of December at the Country Club, and it starts at 1 o'clock for any of you. 2 o'clock, excuse me, for any of those of you who would like to come celebrate a little bit more with Tommy. So with that, Mayor, I'd love for you to come down and oh, Tommy, I'm sorry, introduce your family as the mayor comes down, and then I'll get out of the way.
This is my better half, Tammy, my youngest daughter, Laura, and her son, Patrick.
All right. Well, thank you for coming to celebrate with us. We appreciate you sharing Tommy with us. He's put in a lot of hours here, and well deserved to reach the end of his career and move on to some Winnebago trips and other things that he's got on his list. So thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely, thank you. City Council has approved a resolution, Tommy, for the retired employee Tommy Dees. I'd like to read that now. It's a very, very beautiful resolution. Whereas on the occasion of his retirement on January 1st, 2019, it is fitting and proper for the City Council to express its sincere appreciation to Tommy Dees for his loyal, dedicated service to the City of Monroe for 29 years. Whereas Tommy Dees joined the City of Monroe Water Resources Department as a utility maintenance worker on September 11th, 1989, giving him an excellent foundation to advance to the position of construction field supervisor on March the 28th of 2015. Whereas for 29 years, Tommy Dees has been an exemplary employee providing quality service to both the citizens of the City of Monroe and is serving as a valuable resource to fellow city employees and departments. Whereas Tommy Dees' work ethics and devotion to his duty has been an asset for the Water Resources Department. Whereas the City of Monroe is most grateful for the professional and personal contribution Tommy Dees has given to the Water Resources Department and the city. Whereas the City Council of the City of Monroe wishes to acknowledge and express its appreciation for his years of dedicated and distinguished service to the employee of the City of Monroe and their families, note that Tommy Dees will be missed both professionally and as a friend. Now therefore it be resolved that the Mayor and City Council publicly expresses their sincere appreciation to Tommy Dees for his outstanding performance of duty in the City of Monroe over the past 29 years and extend yet a very best wishes for a long and happy retirement. Be it further resolved that this resolution be entered upon the permanent minutes of the City Council. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and called the seal of the City of Monroe to be affixed this day, 4th day of December 2018. Tommy, I'd like to present this to you. Congratulations for your 29 years. Thank you so much for what you've done. You've done an outstanding job. Family, thank y'all for letting Tommy share his 29 years with us. We certainly appreciate him of that so much. Now, Tommy, we also want to present you a watch here, a nice watch. We hope you will enjoy this and wear it. And every time you look at it, you'll think about the City of Monroe, of course, because we've got the seal on there. But somebody suggested to me earlier we may should have given that years ago so you'd been on time every day. But I'm just kidding.
Considering I'm 30 minutes early every day.
I was going to say that. I understand that you're early, so you didn't really need to watch. So I was going to clear that up. It's always early and on the job, and certainly that's an outstanding feature for anyone to have and can say. So congratulations for your 29 years. Thank you so much for your service, and we hope you will enjoy this watch. And if you would, we'd like for you to go by and shake the hands of the council folks. Thank you so much.
Give me a bump. Thank y'all very much.
Congratulations. Hey there.
Hello.
Good to see y'all.
Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you again, thank you so much. Appreciate y'all coming. Tommy, good luck to you. Okay, Gary, I'll recognize Gary at this time. He wants to have a word.
Mayor, I'd like to welcome Captain David Morton here tonight, newly promoted. This is his second day as captain over C and D patrol squads, and we are glad to have him with us as our liaison tonight. And congratulations on your well-deserved promotion.
Very good. Also, at this time, we understand we have members from the American Legion Post 212. Would you please stand up and let us recognize you?
All right.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you for folks for being here, and thank you for your service. And of course, welcome back anytime. We're certainly glad to have you, and certainly glad to have you tonight. So thank you for all you've done in the past and what you folks will do in the future. Thank you so much again.
And Mayor, if I
Yes.
may, many people don't know it, but Post 212 does a lot of community service work in the community. And I know they have project each month. I don't know what they're doing this month. Not only thank you for your service to the country, but thank you for your service to Monroe as well.
Absolutely. Appreciate you very much. Okay, next item be consent agenda. Larry?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. The City Council uses the consent agenda to consider items that are non-controversial and routine. The consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and vote of council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of a council member or a citizen with the consent of council. The consent agenda contains the following items. The second item on the agenda is for the purpose of approving the offer to purchase and sale agreement for the acquisition of the Susie Garman heirs property and to approve the budget amendment for this acquisition in the amount of $24,400. The property is located on White Street and is for the purpose of expanding the Hillcrest Cemetery. Item 3 is for the purpose of approving 4 budget amendments. The first is to recognize industry appreciation sponsorship funds in the amount of $18,250 and for the July 2018 supervisory seminar funds of $1,800 for use with the economic development operations. The second budget amendment is to accept a $3,541 donation from the Friends of the Ellen Fitzgerald Senior Center. The funds will be used to replace a kiln in the Senior Center ceramic and pottery studio. Third is to accept a $350 donation from Advanced Driver Training Services. These funds will be used by the Monroe Police Explorer Program. And the fourth budget amendment is to accept a $260 donation from Have a Heart Foundation, and those funds will be used by the Monroe Police Explorer Program. Item 4 is for the purpose of calling a public hearing to be held January 8, 2019, pursuant to the requirements of General Statutes 158-7.1 to consider land acquisitions of 2 tracts of property in the Concord Avenue area to be used for economic development purposes, and those addresses are 307 and 213 Kerr Street. Item 5 is for the purpose of accepting Public Safety Committee's recommendation to deny the request to restrict vehicle turning movements onto John Moore Road from Old Charlotte Highway. Item 6 is for the purpose of approving an application to the Department of Homeland Security Assistance to Firefighter Prevention Grant for an amount not to exceed a total of $25,000. Item 7 involves minutes and reports. Item 7A involves disbursements from City Council's discretionary fund. There were 3 sets of disbursements for this period, first of which was Mayor Bobby Kilgore. He made 2 disbursements, which includes the Union County Chamber of Commerce Red Carpet Gala in the amount of $50, and secondly for the Shepherd's Place in the amount of $250. Mayor Pro Tem Gary Anderson made two disbursements, the first of which was for the Shepherd's Place in the amount of $150, and for Heart of Monroe in the amount of $100. And third, Councilmember Saluda Anthony made one disbursement for Shepherd's Place in the amount of $200. Item 7B involves financial reports. As a summary, I'll highlight several fund balance amounts and components. The total fund balance is $28,563,000 and change. A few of the subsets of that total fund balance is the fund balance reserved by policy is $10,106,000 and change. The unassigned general fund balance is $5 million and change, and the total assigned fund balance is $2.1 million. There are 7 sets of minutes lettered 7C through J. Item 8 is for the purpose of approving the payment of damages totaling $19,857 to Microelectronics Center of North Carolina, which arose from City Force's use of an auger on Skyway Drive at Don Griffin Park that impacted a fiber optic cable. Item 9 is for the purpose of terminating the professional service agreement with Code Right Planners and approving a professional service agreement with Kimberly Horn and Associates for the Unified Development Ordinance rewrite and zoning map amendment update. The contract amount is $183,300. The original budget was $196,000. Item 10 is for the purpose of renewing the letter of agreement that allows participation in the airfield maintenance program offered by the Division of Aviation, NC Department of Transportation. Again, this is a renewal action. Item 11 involves schedules and is for the purpose of adopting the schedule of city council meetings and schedule of city events for 2019. Item 12 is for the purpose of approving tax releases for the month of October in the amount of $11,482. Item 13 is for the purpose of approving the purchase of a hydraulic mini excavator from Carolina Cat of Charlotte, North Carolina in the amount of $113,584.96 for use by the Water Resources Maintenance Division. Mayor and members of City Council, that concludes my summary of items placed on your consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. We'll go into our regular agenda. Item 14, request to table public hearing for downtown economic incentive. Mr. Black.
Good evening, everyone. Matthew Black, Downtown Coordinator for the City of Monroe. City Council approved the call for this public hearing on November 6, 2018 meeting. Since that time, staff has determined the need for additional time to work out the incentive and the loan requested. Therefore, staff requests council table this public hearing to the January 8th City Council regular meeting without further advertising. So that's what I'm asking for, to move this public hearing to the next City Council meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass. Thank you, Mr. Black.
Yes.
I think it is. There is. Okay, item 15, annexation zoning map amendment request. Ms. Mendel, there she is. Yes, ma'am. This is a request of the Unionville Indian Trail Road, known as Stallinbrook.
Good evening, I'm Carrie Mendler with the Planning Department. Tonight I will be presenting 2 separate items under one presentation. The first item is an annexation request and the second item is a zoning text and map amendment, both requested by MI Homes. The applicant is requesting the annexation and conditional district rezoning in order to develop 142 single-family lots. The total area of the project is 77 acres with 35.73 acres of open space, and the density of this project is 1.84 units per acre. Just to orient you to the site, the property is highlighted in blue. It is north of West Unionville Indian Trail Road and west of Ridge Road, and just to the north is the Porter Ridge schools, the school campus that is located there. The subject property is currently 77 acres. The adjoining zoning is RA 20 and RA 40, which is in the county and Unionville. And the parcel to the west is the city's gas pump station, and it is also zoned general industrial. The applicant is requesting the conditional district in order to develop 142 single-family lots that will provide 35.73 acres of open space. The density is 1.84 units per acre. The minimum lot size is 5,980 square feet with an average lot size of 7,125 square feet. Each lot will have a paved driveway that will accommodate at least 4 vehicles, and each lot will also have 2 front yard trees, and street trees will also be provided at 1 tree per lot. The project is required to provide at least 12.5% open space, which would equal 9.63 acres. The applicant has provided 46.4% acres of open space, which is again the 35.73 acres. 6.93, so roughly 7 acres of that open space is being provided out of the floodplain. The open space will also include an area with a playground, grills, tables, and a walking trail. Just to give you an idea, that will be located in this area of the site plan. There's also a blue line stream that's located along the north property line, and it is being provided with a 50-foot undisturbed buffer as required by the ordinance. Sidewalks will be provided along both sides of the road throughout the development, as well as along Unionville Indian Trail Road and the southern section of Ridge Road. Due to the floodplain and no connectivity, sidewalks are not being proposed or required on the northern section of the development along Ridge Road. And just to clarify, this section that runs from this point to here is all located in the floodplain, so sidewalk will not be located here, but it will be located at this entrance and then again along the development on Unionville Indian Trail Road. As far as the transportation improvements, the development will have a right-in, right-out access on Ridge Road, and the entrance on Unionville Indian Trail Road will be a full movement entrance that will also have a left turn lane that will be located on Unionville Indian Trail Road to provide access into the development. The City Engineering Department and North Carolina DOT did not require traffic impact analysis for this project. The applicant has submitted a wide variety of different elevations. The developer is proposing homes with a minimum of 1,400 square feet. The proposed exterior building materials will include fiber cement, stone, stucco, and/or brick. Vinyl will only be allowed in the soffits. And each dwelling unit will also have a 2-car garage, and all front-load garages will have hardware to mimic a carriage-style garage. There were 2 pages of elevations. This first set was for the smaller lots, and then the second set was for the slightly larger lot widths. This development does fall within the Porter Ridge School District, and the following information was provided by Don Ogram with the school system. The Porter Ridge Elementary School is currently at 71% capacity. Porter Ridge Middle School is at 95% capacity, and Porter Ridge High School is at 96% capacity. As far as the neighborhood notification, the applicant did hold a neighborhood meeting on October 3rd, 2018. One individual attended this meeting to get some more information regarding the project, and additionally, a rezoning notification sign was posted 10 days prior to the public hearing, and official rezoning notification letters were sent to the adjacent property owners within 150 feet 10 days prior to this meeting. The land development plan does indicate this area as suburban. While residential uses typically take the form of neighborhoods with uniform housing types and densities, a mix of housing types and lot sizes is preferred in suburban locations. Strategic connections to the off-street multi-use trail network are preferred, and open space should be preserved in both active and passive forms within neighborhoods. And the density for suburban residential is 2 to 4 units per acre. The planning board did recommend approval of the annexation and the zoning text and map amendment for the property located off West Unionville Indian Trail Road, as well as adoption of a resolution of land development compliance, which has been provided in your packets for your review. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I heard you say the letters were sent out to the property owners within 150 feet. You may have answered already what I'm fixing to ask. If I did, I missed it. What kind of feedback did you get from those letters?
I did not receive any phone calls from the letters or the sign. Like I said, they did have a neighborhood meeting, and one individual did attend that meeting. It was somebody that was, I think the pastor possibly at the church that's located across the street from this property.
Okay.
So you had no phone inquiries or written inquiries about the development?
No.
And that, for that one person who attended the meeting on October 3rd, you said it's for informational purposes?
Yes,
Were their questions satisfied?
I think so. They sounded satisfied at the meeting.
Okay. You mentioned vinyl.
Yes, in
I
the
believe you
soffit.
said that's just on the soffit.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I know there's different grades of vinyl, and I can't sit here and quote them to you, but I know they're different. Is this going to be the thicker grade, or we've discussed it with other housing developments?
They didn't indicate, but they might be willing to do that, and you can certainly ask the applicant.
Yeah, we get that.
That's just on soffit.
Okay.
Just
that's
the
good.
soffit's correct.
Okay, we get that.
Are these homes built on a slab?
I believe they are. Again, that applicant might be able to address that a little bit better.
Any other questions? This is a public hearing. Go ahead.
Just a quick question. Is there something that the city was able to offer this developer that he was not able to get with county zoning? Just curious why they would voluntarily annex something like this that far out to the county. He's going to answer it.
Yeah, I'll defer that to him.
That's fine.
Okay.
I can probably guess, but
Okay, that's fine.
Council, have any other questions of the lady? If not, this is a public hearing. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Anyone here?
Actually, sir, for the record, could you state your name and for your address?
I'll be speaking later, sir. My name is Jess Perry. I'm with Walt Perry Realty. We're the broker representing the family, the Stallings family.
Okay.
The gentleman who was at the public hearing was from Ebenezer Church.
Okay. Okay.
As Stallings said, if there's any protest, you would have heard that, let me know. So,
I'm sure we'll get all.
Not necessarily true. Not necessarily true.
Okay, this is a public hearing, and at this time, I'm going to recognize who would like to speak in favor, and I have some people signed up, and I'm going to take them by name as they have signed up. The first I have is Mr. Lloyd, Chad Lloyd. If you will, if you'll come and give us your name, address for the record, sir, we'll entertain you.
Yes, sir. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, and members of council, thanks for having me here tonight. My name is Chad Lloyd. I'm the director of land acquisition for MI Homes here in Charlotte. My address is 3242 Tadding Road in Matthews, 28105. And you'll have to forgive me if I make a bolt for the door. My wife is 9 months pregnant, so I may have to hand it off to my friend here. I'm on a short leash tonight, so appreciate the opportunity to come and speak with you. We're very excited to continue our investment in the city of Monroe. This site has, obviously with the opening of the expressway last week, we've had great interest in that new corridor. This site has excellent access into the new expressway, actually 3 points of access: Unionville Indian Trail Road, that interchange, the interchange at Rocky River Road to the south, as well as going down Ridge Road to Highway 601. So we are excited. We are following the infrastructure, where the infrastructure is in the ground, the sewer and water infrastructure is there. So we are very, very pleased with the location, and we're very pleased to be able to contract with Mrs. Janice Stallings to make an application on the property. About the product that was in there, put that back on the screen here. Okay. We're offering a mix of product for a variety of life stages and customer preferences, including traditional two-story product, as well as the owner suite on the main level ranch programs in there. We currently range on our 52-foot lot program roughly around 2,200 square feet. That's the average of that program. And then on the 62-foot lot section, we average a little north of 2,500 square feet on that product. We anticipate our base pricing to be at approximately, this is all dependent on market conditions, but we currently anticipate it to be in the low 280s on the 52-foot lots to 290s on the 62. But we have a design center that customers can come to and choose different options and upgrades. And so typically we see folks utilizing that, and we would expect to see these lots close in the roughly 316 to 326 range. The houses that MI Home sells, we offer, again, we're a publicly traded company. We've been in Charlotte, the metro of Charlotte, for more than 30 years. We've been very successful in this market. We offer a industry-leading transferable 15-year warranty on the structure, as well as every house that we build is 100% Energy Star certified. I will just point out on the land plan itself, the suburban residential land use plan calls for 2 to 4 units to the acre. We're actually coming in at just 1.84 units, and that's in your packet there. So I'm happy to answer any questions about it, but we are very pleased to be here, very pleased to invest along the new expressway. We know that the city has new economic development initiatives, new industrial parks, and for your industry. We think that this product would, in this neighborhood, would serve that well with great access to the schools, very close, very short commute to the schools. We're right beside K through 12 schools. So it is in our opinion, this is a smart growth development where you concentrate the development where the infrastructure is. So happy to answer any questions should you have any.
Mr. Will the development be governed with the homeowners association?
Yes, ma'am, it will. Yes, ma'am. We charter it, and we will be the declarant, and then ultimately it will be transferred over to the residents themselves.
Is this MI Home's first project in Monroe or Union County?
No, ma'am. We are under contract to purchase lots in Poplar Grove, which is a project that you all approved many months ago. We are also working with the developer of the Village at Rocky River, which is another project that is on the other side of 74. We are working with him to get those lots and to work out a deal to get that contracted. That's still, the business terms are still under discussion right now, but we anticipate that we will continue that investment.
Some of the other projects, did you anticipate have a price tag that's more affordable to medium income families?
Yes, ma'am. The Village at Rocky River, it does. And that was part of the discussions. I don't know if you recall, I was here, it was probably 4 or 5 months ago that went through, and that was part of that discussion of the product to allow us to get to a multiple price point level. And MI Homes, we have a number of product types that we offer. The Poplar Grove piece, we're actually bringing in a different product level, which will be a higher price point level in this corridor, a little above we think, all market conditions, a little above the Glendalough price point that's currently in there. This is right in the middle, and then the Village at Rocky River would be a more affordable, and we project in approximately the mid 200s. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lloyd, Mr. Jordan had a question a little bit ago. You might remember. If not, he may want to restate that.
And it was answered, but just for the record, I wanted to have you state why you're choosing to annex a property into Monroe and have and develop it under Monroe's guidelines rather than just develop it in the county without using the city of Monroe as a partner.
I'll let the broker speak for the family and their preferences, Mr. Perry here, but certainly the ordinance itself is very conducive to clustering, which is a very good use of land resources. Yeah. So we're very pleased to work with the staff here. Very not an easy process to get through by any means, but with that allowing us to use clustering, and you see quite a bit of open space in this property that Monroe provides for that. to leverage the infrastructure that's in the area.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Lloyd.
Thank you.
All right, the second I have signed up, is it Terry? Am I saying that right?
Yes, sir.
It's this time if you'd like to address the council.
Yes, sir.
I have you signed up to speak.
I just have some questions, not necessarily in opposition.
All right, if you'll give us your name and address for the record, sir.
Yes, sir. I have two addresses that are in very close proximity to this property. My residential address is 2411 Ridge Road, which is directly adjacent to the church's property, Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Okay.
My business address is less than 100 yards from the intersection. I don't have the little pieces up here, but downstream from the bridge, less than 100 yards is my business. I've lived here for 52 years in Union County, and I've seen some massive flooding along that creek basin. I understand there's a 100-year floodplain. Was you out there physically when Florence came through?
Yes, I was.
Okay. The young lady that spoke a minute ago said that the middle school and the high school was already in the 90% plus capacity range. I would personally like to know what the developer is doing for the schools and the road structure system that these vehicles from this 142 homes is going to impact our immediate neighborhood. That's just questions that I have. As far as you mentioned the church, that someone was there. The first notice that we have of this development was the letter we received in the mail. The church wanted to know, with the gas lines and the other utility services coming through, could the church tag on to some of those utilities? And from my understanding, I have a lot of relatives in the church. We are members of Ebenezer Baptist Church. That question was never answered by the developer.
No. This is a public hearing, Mayor. It's not,
Okay.
it's that, unless, and those questions are not necessarily questions directed to the city. But I would ask, though, if the gentleman could clarify his name, because I think the mayor may have read it, but I think we don't have it for the minutes. If you could give us your name again.
First name is Terry, last name is Price.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, what was your question again, sir? To the extent we can answer it, I want to make sure if there's anything, but typically that's not done in public.
As I mentioned, it's not necessarily questions, it's concerns for our immediate neighborhood there around Ebenezer Baptist Church and that intersection in the Porter Ridge schools. What is the developer doing for our immediate community by adding 152 residential pieces of house?
That's if the developer wishes to answer those questions, they can. However, this is again just a public hearing where folks provide their perspective to council. So
I understand that, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for you, sir.
Mr. Price, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Does, you have a business right near the church, does the development impact your business in any way?
It may or may not.
How so?
I mean, it could benefit my business. We do boarding and training. I had a public hearing with the county 15 years ago and got approved to put my business on the piece of property there. It could help my business. It could also hurt my business. I don't know.
But you're not in.
No, a little bit about my business. We board all breeds of dogs for people going on vacations, business trips, whatever. Also, my passion is hunting. I train retriever breeds for people to take their retrievers all over the country and hunt. When more homes come into our area, one of the things I have to do in training a dog is to shoot a gun over that dog to teach it to not be gun shy. Number two, understand that there are things happening when a gun is fired. I may get some repercussion from these neighbors that are coming in and complain about my business. So it could hurt or help my business. I have no idea at this point.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Price. Okay, third person I have signed up is Mr. Perry, sir. We recognize you at this time, if you will. Come to the podium, give us your name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is excuse me for bursting in a while ago. I just wanted to make a point. The Stallingses do want the development here, and it's not just, I'll get back to that in a moment. You know, my wife the other day, I'm sorry, but we live in Lake Park. It's not here in Monroe. And Mr. Price, I'd like to say this. We discovered that there's a new vet in Lake Park. And she said, well, why don't we start going to that vet because they're right down the street. I contend with all these people who have animals, they would love to board their animals, perhaps, in Mr. Price's kennel. Sorry, but we can't shoot guns around very much anymore. I can't help them with that. But the question, what was the other one, excuse me, about utilities or something? Or
the church had inquired about could they connect with some of the utilities such as
I think Mr. Lloyd can answer that one.
Okay.
I feel good about that. I did hear the comment that having these people over there across the street would perhaps help with membership in the church. That's a possibility. I've worked with the Stallings family, Morris and Janice. Unfortunately, Morris passed away a couple of years ago. With this property, it's been perhaps as long as 15 years. And they've always wanted to do the right thing and have the right people to develop this property, which is a beautiful property. It is right beside Porter Ridge School. I'm not an expert on the school population. Forgive me if I'm wrong, I think I read something in these papers sometime back that said that the school populations in Union County are going to drop in coming years. So, and as far as overpopulating Porter Ridge, I don't know if it would. I do know this, is that this is a wonderful piece of property. Again, the Stallingses have always told me they wanted somebody they could work with, that they felt confident that would produce a good product. We turned down a number of developers who would love to have had this property because we weren't confident in what they could do. And we feel good about MI Homes. We believe they do a very good product. And it's close to the bypass. I believe it's good for the city of Monroe. The family wanted, and by talking about the services of the city of Monroe, they favored Monroe over going with the county, frankly. There are other dynamics, too, that we know that could spur commercial growth in this immediate area, and I'd like to pursue that later on. I can't go into that right now. And the city of Monroe is more prepared to do this, frankly. I would love to see the city of Monroe have this project. We live in a wonderful area. Being in the business, of course, we're commercial. We're also connected to residential. And in talking with our residential friends, they say we don't have enough inventory. We don't have good quality inventory. Get us more inventory. People, you know this, they want to move here. They're used to living in developments like this that are more clustered, but also would like to have shopping nearby. This product meets that need. Again, we have people asking us, where can we live in Union County? I'll wind it up, Mayor. I was talking with an American Airlines pilot one day who had invested in a little house in Marshville, and he said, my stewardess is always asking me, where can we move? We love this area. And I had to tell him, I don't know. So I'll cut it short, Mayor. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Perry?
Any questions for me and the family?
You
Yes.
are the broker for the property?
We're the broker representing the Stallings family.
Okay, thank you,
And
sir.
they approve. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's all I've got on that one. Is anyone here else who would like to speak in favor? Yes, sir.
Would you like me to answer some of the questions from the gentleman? Be happy to address a
I
couple of
believe
those
he had
questions.
one question about the utility line.
The utility line, yes, sir.
You do it briefly, sir.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it and are happy to get your contact information, and we do, I want to steal this, we do want to be a good neighbor and to provide access where we can. This is a conceptual potential route of sewer access to provide to the church. This is the corner of the church property here, and this is a route that we think we can work out to provide sewer access into the community. It's tough to commit to it specifically now because we haven't gotten into the engineering of the property, but we certainly want to work with neighbors. That's certainly good for our business, and we want to be a good neighbor and continue to do projects in Monroe. So absolutely, we want to work with you on that.
Yeah, that was just a question the church had.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we are looking at that. It's just difficult at this time to commit to the specific engineering on it, but it is something clearly that we're looking at and we want to be able to accommodate. Yeah, my wife's a Baptist, so.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, just to answer, just to make sure that we're clear about that, I don't know the ability of a developer to sell our sewer to someone else, but we do have Russ here, and Russ might be able to help address that. Would that be a possibility, Russ?
Every development that comes through the door, we're always looking for serving surrounding properties if the infrastructure can be placed accordingly. So we'll continue to work with them. When you have a customer like the church who's probably already connected to county water, the chance of them getting sewer service would be as an outside customer, and of course that comes to city council for approval. Okay. We're always examining all the surrounding properties to see, could they annex, could we position the utilities for future service, whether they come into the city or not. We always are looking at that, so we'll be glad to look at this particular sewer route.
Okay.
Sir, can you check your papers? I think you may have taken something off the Elmo that I think staff had up there. Or it's moved away. Okay, you moved it away. All right, thank you. Just want to make sure.
All right. Is anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Anyone who'd like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, at this time we'll close the public hearing and take action.
Mayor, I move we approve this motion that the petition met the requirements of North Carolina General Statute 160A-58.1.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Also, motion to adopt ordinance to extend corporate limits.
Second.
A motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? All right.
And also, motion to adopt resolution approving land development plan compliance for conditional district Stalinsbrook.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that approved. That's approved.
I think we got an E and an F. Yes, you do.
Motion to adopt ordinance amending code chapter 156, 106 title official zoning map.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
Motion to adopt ordinance amending code chapter 156.98, title conditional district established.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second.
Motion and a second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that's all approved. Thank you very much.
Mayor,
yes.
before we go on, I would like to thank Russ Colbath. I know that we did some sizing of lines before this property here that allowed this property to be annexed and for us to be able to serve this property. This didn't just happen overnight. So I wanted to thank Russ Colbath for his leadership in seeing the vision of serving a larger piece of property other than just what was being asked for at the time.
Absolutely, that's correct. Okay. Public hearing, Mr. Doug Britt on the annexation zoning map, request 35.69 acres, Gold Mine Road.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Doug Britt, Planning Department. Tonight I'm presenting an annexation and zoning map amendment request by Union County Board of Education for the property located near the intersection of Gold Mine Road and Rocky River Road. The request is to rezone or annex and rezone the property from Union County Light Industrial to Conditional District Union County Public Schools Transportation Center. The subject property is outlined in blue. It's located to the south of Gold Mine Road and to the west of Rocky River Road. And also just the orange line or red line there is the current city limits. This is the zoning map of the area. Again, this is Gold Mine Road to the north, Rocky River Road, and the city limits follow this red dashed line. The properties in the dark blue are zoned light industrial in Union County, and the properties in the Carolina blue are RA20 in Union County, and then the properties on the eastern side of Rocky River are different forms of residential zoning. The applicant is requesting to develop the 35.69 acre tract for the Union County Transportation Center at the said location. The center will be approximately 36,394 square feet and will also include a 4,600 equipment shelter. The transportation center will serve as a maintenance facilities for the Union County buses as well as housing offices for staff. To orient you this way, to the north would be Gold Miner Road up here, and this is Rocky River Road over here. And if you notice, the property doesn't have any road frontage, and so it's being served. And I got a separate sheet of paper, but I thought they were just throwing it there for a second. But it's being served by a, for lack of a better term right now, it's going to be an access easement that will take it from Gold Mine Road to serve this property. And obviously the property that the road goes across, which would be this area right here, this property is not being annexed, nor is the road. The only thing that's being annexed is what just parcel is outlined in blue. The minimum setbacks for the project are being complied with. The project is located well off the property lines. The applicants provide landscaping and buffering as required by the ordinance. The applicants provide 200 parking spaces for passenger vehicles and another 138 spaces for bus parking spaces. The passenger vehicle parking, the 200 of those will be paved. And the applicant is requesting the 138 bus parking spaces to be gravel. Typically, we do require all our parking to be paved, but in this situation, for the amount of buses they're parking, staff thinks it's probably a reasonable request for this to be gravel. The applicant will be required to provide stormwater retention, and this will be evaluated at the building permit stage if this project is approved. As far as transportation goes, the applicant, when they do the access road, they'll have a turn lane, a left turn lane, and a right decel lane on Gold Mine Road for the site, so you'll be able to turn left into the site, and there'll also be a right decel lane into the site as well. As far as elevations, the structure will be a mixture of decorative CMU block and metal. This would be the front elevation facing toward Gold Mine Road, and this is the side elevation. The applicant did send a neighborhood notification letter out to the adjoining property owners within 150 feet. Staff received one call, or I guess one or two calls just inquiring what his request was, and we did explain that, and they were fine with the explanation of that. The project is consistent with the land development plan, and since this is an annexation, staff did route to all of the departments that there would be no adverse impact as far as operating services for the city of Monroe to extend our corporate limits to serve this property. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Resolutions in your packet as well. The action items for council to consider is the annexation action to motion that the petition met the requirements of General Statute 160A 58.1, or a motion that did not. And then the action number 2 would be the annexation action motion to adopt the ordinance to extend the corporate limits. And then the third action would be, if that's approved, a zoning action, a motion to adopt a resolution approving the land development compliance for conditional district Union County Public Schools Transportation Center, or a motion to adopt a resolution denying the land development compliance. And then the zoning action motion to adopt the ordinance amending section 156.106 and also 156.98. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Doug?
Yes, ma'am.
These 138 parking spaces, would that accommodate all of the buses to serve our schools?
No, not all, because that was one of my questions. That they're not going to park all. I I mean, I think there's more than 138 school buses in the county, but they're not gonna park all the school buses there because I know just from personal circumstance, my kids, we go to Piedmont though, and there's always buses at Piedmont Middle School and Piedmont High School, so it serves as a maintenance facility, and, but no, they're not parking every Union County school bus on this site.
Okay. Second question, will this facility take, that will be the facility, it won't be one on Venus and Cuervo Road?
I think, and the applicant, their answer, but I think they're still keeping the facility on Venus Street, from my understanding from speaking with them, to how that is going to function, the Venus Street facility. I can't really explain that. They could probably better explain that than I can, but from my recollection of speaking with them, I think they're going to still retain that facility.
We'll get that back. Any other questions, Doug? Thank you, Doug.
Okay.
This is a public hearing. I have one person to speak in favor. Let me see. David, Mr. David? You signed up to speak, sir? Or whoever. Sir, if you give us your name and address for the record, appreciate that, sir.
I'm David Pope. My address is 2107 Winthrop Ridge Road, Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm the Facilities Project Manager for Union County Public Schools. And I'd like to address you about this project. It's a long time in coming. We originally had asked to do this in 2008. And unfortunately, the recession happens, and we had to pull it off the agenda for that time. So with a new bond referendum, we have been fortunately funded by the county to do this facility. It's very badly needed. To answer one of the earlier questions about what we're going to do with the existing facility on Venus Street, we're going to stay there, the facilities end. We share that with the transportation end, and we're going to renovate that at that time, but there won't be any buses there. That will cease to be the bus transportation area, but you're correct, there will be some buses that are still spread out in the county in the areas that we can still maintain them at. But all the general maintenance and the upkeep and just the and basically some summer storage will be there at the facility.
Okay, thank you.
So we feel like we've got a well-crafted facility. As you can see from the elevations, we've worked with an architect that's very familiar with this type of facility. They've done this type of work before. We feel we're going to have a good product for you. We've tried to spend extra money on making it attractive. It's not a metal building sitting back in the field with a split-face masonry and a very nice corporate appearance at the front there and additional landscaping and Mr. Britt's suggestion on this project.
Any other questions from the council? Thank you, Mr. Pope.
Thank you.
Is anyone here who would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and take action.
Motion that the petition meet the requirements of North Carolina General Statute 160A-58.1.
Okay, I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Any questions, comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Motion to adopt ordinance to extend corporate limits.
Second.
Motion is second. Any comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none?
Motion to adopt resolution approving land development plan compliance for conditional district Union County Public School Transportation Center.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that'll pass.
Motion to adopt ordinance amending Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156, 106, titled Official Zoning Map.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass.
Motion to adopt ordinance amending Code of Ordinances, Chapter 156.98, titled Conditional Districts Established.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass.
Petition for ordinance declaring property located at 1001.
Ma'am,
Oh,
that's
sorry,
what I
next one, sorry.
That's 17. Okay.
You guys are on a roll.
Yeah, we were on the road. Well, let's go ahead and do them all. Okay, all in favor?
No, Mayor, there's nothing on 17.
No, I'm gonna call that off. I'm getting the other. So the other is passed. We'll go to item 17. Petition declaring property on Parker Street. This is advised that the petition for the ordinance has been withdrawn, and there will not be a public hearing held on any action taken. So that has been withdrawn at this time. Item 18, Department of Justice Assistant Grant. Mr. Morton. Captain Morton, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. David Morton with the Police Department. We're seeking to accept 2 grants from the United States Department of Justice. For the first grant's a total of $12,808. Second is $13,431. The first grant will be used to purchase biometric field fingerprint scanners for the patrol officers, and the second is for duty gear upgrades for the patrol officers. Both of these grants are a zero match for the city.
That's what I was going to ask, so you just answered that. Okay. Any questions from the council? All in favor, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Actually, you need to, this is
Get through.
Public
public
hearing.
hearing.
I didn't think I was going to miss that.
Motion to accept grants.
Okay.
No, no,
I'll
ma'am,
do a public
the
hearing.
public hearing has to.
Thank you, David. This is a public hearing. Anyone here who would like to speak in favor? Hearing none, is anyone here who would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and take action.
Motion to accept grants.
Second.
Motion is second. Any question, comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you, and great job.
Good job, David. All right.
Motion to adopt budget amendment.
Second.
Have a motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass.
Motion to authorize city manager to execute any and all necessary documents.
Second. Have a motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, that will pass. Okay. Item 19, public hearing, zoning map amendment with Doug Britt.
City Council is requested to reconsider a zoning map amendment request for the property located along Secrets Price Road and identified as a portion of tax parcel 09298-068A. The request is to rezone the property from conditional district Secrets Place to conditional district Redwood Monroe. This request was originally denied by City Council at October 2nd meeting, but was voted to be reconsidered by the council at November meeting. At that November meeting, y'all voted to reconsider it and set a public hearing for tonight. The public hearing was duly advertised, and we did re-notify the adjoining property owners with 150 feet. If you recall, the request was filed by Redwood Living. It's for the property located along Secrets Price Road, and they're requesting to rezone it for a multifamily apartment complex, which will consist of 119 one-story, 2-bedroom units. The developer has made a few modifications to the project since the day of disapproval, and I'll go over those. Redwood Living will have a permanent ingress and egress and utility easement from their site to Highway 74. So basically and there was some discussion about this at the last meeting was, because this property along the front right here is tied up in, and I mentioned last time, is old conditional district Secrets Price, which was retail, which is really null and void now. So if anything wants to go develop along this front, they're going to go through planning board and council anyway. But more than likely, it's going to be some type of commercial use, I would imagine. So there's concerns about, if something developed, could this totally just go take their access away? And what the developers worked out with this property owner is that there will be a permanent. Now it might shift from here over to here, but there's going to be a permanent easement that's going to get from this property out Highway 74 for utilities as well as access. That's one thing they worked on. The next thing, the portion of Secrets Price Road is currently private will remain private. And if you recall though, Secrets Price Road from Fowler Secrets at this location, basically just past Woodlands Creek Drive, is publicly maintained by the City of Monroe. And then the portion from where City Banks ends back up to 74 is privately maintained by the owner of this property at this point in time. And that road's going to remain private. At the last time, there was some discussion about could it go public, but the developer, just for sake of it helps this property down the road, so it doesn't, if you have a publicly maintained road, it's going to be a recorded right of way. It kind of ties the hand of what can be developed in front of this right here, so it's going to remain private. The next thing, the developer will be solely responsible for maintaining the entire portion, private portion of Seekers Price Road until it's further developed. When additional development occurs along the private portion of Seekers Price Road, the maintenance agreement will be revised to reflect new maintenance responsibilities. So basically what I'm saying is for where the private portion starts at this location here, out to Highway 74 will be maintained by the developer, Redwood Living. Then at such time, if these properties along the front are developed, at that point in time, since you've got more people accessing that street, then at that point in time, they would revise that maintenance agreement to probably enter in whoever's over here will maintain a portion of the road as well to share these maintenance responsibilities. All right, the next portion, the eastern portion of Seekers Price Road along the subject property will be in a one-way in a western direction. The developer will install a concrete landscape island to restrict traffic to one way on Seekers Price Road at the development entrance. Two-way traffic will be maintained along Seekers Price Road from Fowler Seekers to just beyond Woodlands Creek Drive and from the proposed development entrance to Highway 74. And so what I'm saying is that from Seekers Price Road at Fowler Seekers, from this way, from this point here to this basically where the city maintenance ends, that would be a two-way traffic. If I'm going into Woodlands Creek, I could go this way and go in like I'm going home. If I'm leaving, I could come out and turn left to go back out to Fowler Seekers as they do now. What would happen is at this point right here where it transitions to private, from this portion right here up to this portion right here, there'll be one-way traffic. And what they're going to do is, right here is, this is Woodlands Creek Drive right here, and so this is where the two-way traffic would end and one-way would pick up. And so you can only go one way from this point forward out here, and then you could turn into the subdivision. And when development occurs up here along Highway 74, they could go as far as just right here, and then at this location right here, these trees and this is like a bump out, where basically this a landscape island takes the place of this portion of this right-hand lane, so you would not be able to go from Highway 74. If you turn right off Highway 74 on the Seekers Price Road, as far as you could go would be to this location, be able to turn left to get to the subdivision, but you wouldn't be able to go all the way through back out to Fowler Seekers. The applicant is proposing to construct 21 one-story multifamily apartment buildings that will contain a total of 119 units. Each unit will have a two-car garage and surface parking areas. The number of units in the buildings will range from 4 to 8 units, not to exceed 119. The proposed density for the project is 5.13 units per acre. And just to refresh your memory, this project is not specifically age targeted, but is one that is marketed toward empty nesters and the older population. The heated living space will range from 1,300 to 1,500 square feet. The developer is proposing the exterior building materials to include vinyl siding, vinyl shake siding, and stone. And as part of the conditional district, the applicant is providing approximately 10.5 acres of open space. At this time, that concludes my presentation.
Yes. Something on the open space.
Do what?
Is there something proposed for the open space?
They have, they had walking trails through theirs, and they had, at one point in time, I know they were mentioning a dog park, and because this shows the overall site plan here, but most of this is just going to be passive open space because they're not marketing it toward, even though, you know, somebody that's not older could live there, but the way they market their project and the way it's set up is not really set up for somebody like a family that have a swing set and pool. That's not where they're kind of trying to cater toward. So most of their open spaces are going to be passive, where they're not going to have a cabana or a pool house or anything like that.
And what is this rent? What is proposed rent?
I think, and they can vary, but I think their rents were from $1,400 to $1,700, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, ma'am. And they can better speak than I can, but their rents were north of $1,500, I do believe.
And one question. The developer is going to maintain the private portion indefinitely until it is developed. What guarantee do we have that he or she's going to do?
They would be, The guarantees we're going to have as far as with the things they agreed to do is that we would have that in hand prior to us issuing any building permits for doing any land disturbance out there. So the points where I mentioned as far as the ingress and utility easement from their side, Highway 74, the maintenance agreement, that's something staff will look for them providing documentation prior to us issuing any type of permits for them doing any type of land disturbance out there. So it's obviously at this point in time, would they have these agreements right now? No, because they haven't closed on the property because they wouldn't be able to get that. But what you know, whether it's approved or not approved, but if it's approved, that's something that staff would hold them accountable to prior to issuing any type of permits for a land disturbance, that they would need to provide these things. Now some of it they can't provide because some of it, like the whole thing about doing the bump out to make it one way, that'll obviously be done during the construction of the project. But the other items, the easements, and the private maintenance of the road, that's something staff will expect to see prior to us issuing any permits for them to start construction. And that's all I have tonight as far as you have any questions. City Council action tonight would be the following. One, a motion to adopt a resolution rescinding the resolution 2018-53, which was originally your denying land development plan compliance, and improving the land development compliance Redwood Monroe, or a motion to reaffirm resolution 2018-53 denying the land development plan compliance. Action number 2 would be a motion to adopt the ordinance amending section 156.106, and also or a motion denying the zoning map amendment, and also a motion to amend section 156.98 titled conditional districts established. I'll leave this here for you as well. And I know that the applicant would like to speak regarding the matter as well.
Okay, any other questions for Doug? Thank you, sir. This is a public hearing, and I have Mr. Greg Thurman signed up to speak in favor. This time, Mr. Greg, we recognize you, sir. If you will, give your name and address to the clerk, so we'll have a record, sir.
Good evening, council members, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gregory Thurman. I'm the Vice President of Development for Redwood Living. I've been here a couple of times previously, so you should at least recognize me. I would like to express my appreciation for working through a couple of details that brings a different choice of housing stock to a group of folks, 119 to be in particular, folks that want to live with this type of apartment rental. We build beautiful neighborhoods. That's all we do. We build 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car attached garage units. That's all we do. It's the only thing we build. We build the neighborhoods. We operate the neighborhoods, and we own our neighborhoods. So Redwood Living has been in business since 1991, approximately 27 years, and we own and operate over 10,000 units. That's on our quest to 100,000 units. You know, a little something in every state.
Okay.
So, I really would like to address any questions that were brought up during the October 2nd meeting pertaining to the circulation of Seacrest Price Road. And we have addressed that to a point where I think there's a solid solution that allows the existing folks outside of our community to access our road and proceed in and out of their communities with no change whatsoever. It will restrict us to come out of our community and head down to State Route 74, which we're in agreement with. As far as the maintenance of the road, it's our only road in and out. We have to make it nice. We are a retail business. When people lease our units, they have to be presentable. I know the rents seem high to folks that consider this choice of housing, but I can tell you, we wait very little time after we're completed that we start taking names for a lease out. We lease out of our projects very quickly, and there's waiting lists to get into them. This is a great transitional choice for those that choose to rent. whether they're leaving an established family neighborhood and they're empty nesters. They might be maintaining 2 homes. So whether we understand the rents or not, the market is there, and we've proven that over the last 27 years. I just wanted to comment on that. It's not for everybody, but we're not marketing to everybody either. So,
Any questions for?
So this is geared toward empty nesters, correct?
yes, the homes are designed for that.
And I know you've got 10,000 units. Have you built this type of units in cities this size and looked at our demographics?
Yes, ma'am.
You have? And
Yes,
they've been
ma'am.
successful?
Yes, ma'am. We're typically in suburban areas, and we go outside of their circle freeways predominantly.
In North Carolina?
In North Carolina, we're in Concord. We're in just over the border in Lake Wiley. We have an approved neighborhood in Charlotte off of Ridge Road, just off of 485 there in 85. So we'll be dotting the Circle Freeway here in the next 10 years with a half dozen or so neighborhoods, and then if that's successful, then we'll do that again.
And one other question you have, is it 10 acres out there of open land? What do you propose doing in that, for that community in those 10 acres?
We respect that we're a transitional buffer between single family, the assisted living to our west, and the intense commercial use that'll be to the south of us. We put the predominant acreage in the best position based on our community meeting between us and the single family residents. Those are going to be maintained to lakes with fountains in them, and the walking trails will circumnavigate around them.
I didn't hear that in the plan.
What's that?
About the 10 acres, about the walking trails and the fountains. I didn't hear that.
I said it was walking trails
I heard the walking trails, I didn't hear about any fountains.
Well, the fountain is termed as their stormwater detention. They're doing wet ponds, so it's termed as a utility because they're required to have it, but they're choosing to do a wet pond, which makes it more of an amenity than you just seeing just a dry hole in the ground.
Or aesthetics.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
They're killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you, sir. Is anyone here who would like to speak in opposition? If you would, come to the podium, sir, and give us your name and address for a record, please.
My name is Otis Rogers. I live on 2319 Fowler Seekers Road, and I've been living there for about 30 years. And I didn't come to special agenda, but sitting here listening tonight, the area they're talking about developing, it's part of my walk, everyday walk. And since I've been living on Fowler Seekers Road, we encountered the Fox Hunt, Savannah Way, the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, Bob Mayberry Hyundai. That can go on and on. And what they're talking about doing, it's going to even bring more traffic to Fowler Seekers Road. And the road, because I walk it. And I'm not trying to knock progress, but I think there ought to be some kind of clause with the city that Fowler Seekers gets some sidewalks or something. Because it's so dangerous at 45 an hour speed limit. I'm afraid to cut my grass out there to the edge of the road. So, I didn't come here for this tonight, but I just want everybody to know that living on Fowler Seekers Road, I'm proud of it. It's very popular, but it's become very dangerous for pedestrians and people driving cars. So I just leave the rest of it to y'all. But I'd like to stay there long enough to see some sidewalks be put on Fowler Seekers Road. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I have to agree with you on that one, because I drive it every morning to work.
For the rest, I walk it.
And I see people walking. I see my former dentist walking. And some mornings I'm scared. I'm very careful because
You see the guy with the green suit on?
Yes, sir.
That's me.
Yes, sir. Some mornings I'm extra cautious to make sure I'm careful for the pedestrians. Because you're right, there's no sidewalks.
And not just that. With the North Carolina Highway Patrol come out sometime doing 100 miles an hour. That's their job. but the fire department rolls that way too, pretty good. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm
Thank
glad
guys.
you said North
Thank
Carolina
you,
Highway
sir.
Patrol and not.
Yeah, they run it.
And not City of Monroe Police. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close the public hearing, take action.
To
Mayor,
the
I make a
next.
motion to adopt resolution rescinding resolution R 20818-53. Denying land development plan compliance and approving land development plan compliance conditional district Redwood, Monroe.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
Motion to adopt ordinance amending code of ordinances.
Hold on. Just wanted to verify there was one no, and that was Councilman Ramsey.
Okay.
Correct, thank you.
Okay, you got that, Madam Clerk? Okay.
Motion to adopt ordinance amending code of ordinances. Chapter 156, zoning code, section 156, 106, title official zoning map.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed?
And motion to adopt ordinance amending code of ordinances, chapter 156, zoning code, section 156.98, title conditional district established.
Second. Have a motion? Have a second?
Second.
Do I have a second?
Mr. Holloway.
Mr. Holloway did? All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Okay, that was passed.
And the opposed.
Opposed is nay.
You need to call the opposed. Mayor, there was.
Yeah, have one opposed, I'm sorry, I just overlooked that, okay.
Mayor, before we go on to number
Yeah.
20, maybe we can pause a minute and allow anybody that'd like to leave to do so, because we have a rather long meeting, and people may have other obligations, if they could do it rapidly, if they need to leave.
No,
I guess
apparently
not.
not. Okay, waiting on the next motion.
Actually, I think that's,
Does that get it off?
I think that's got it.
Okay, I thought we had one more. All right, that passes. We'll go to item 20, city legislative agenda for the 2019 General Assembly long session. We recognize Mr. McGee.
Thank you very much, Mayor. This is your long session legislative agenda, and we provided to council last week before publication of the agenda. But we want to let you know that while you can consider it tonight, you can also move this to your January agenda if you wish. I want to sum up a couple of things with it. With the change in the General Assembly, the end of the supermajorities, we looked at as departments and as your staff as to what we needed to have in the agenda. We made a decision to look differently at how we did the agenda in the past and say, what items do we truly need? And we viewed it as with the end of the supermajorities, we may need some items that from a protection standpoint are out there. For example, are items concerning protection of municipal assets, local management of public utilities, local elections, and protection of municipal authority. We felt that was those were important to have in the event that during the long session some moves took place to challenge any of those. So that's in the agenda. Beyond that, then the only action item that's instead of a defensive action, as it were, would be the prepared food and beverage tax, which was on your agenda in the short session last year. That is a prepared food and beverage tax of 1% that would then be used to go towards debt service on the construction exhibits at the new Science Center. The additional revenues that aren't needed for that would then go towards operating costs for the Science Center and the Center Theater, and then any remaining funds after that would be used for future tourism projects as well as enhancements to the Science Center and Center Theater. Now, with those, what we would envision is asking the General Assembly not for the authority to impose the tax directly, but the authority to levy the tax only if the citizens of Monroe authorize it in a referendum. When the referendum would take place would be a question. It's possible the General Assembly would require it in November of 2019. It's possible that they could require it at some other time. We don't know. We will see if you authorize this and we move forward with it, we would work with the General Assembly on it. So those are really the items of your legislative agenda. I know that you've only had an opportunity to take a look at this recently, and would note that the other thing we would ask you to do is as part of the agenda, is also attached the League of Municipalities Biennium Advocacy Goals. The mayor, Councilmember Anthony, and Councilmember McGee were present at the Advocacy Goals Conference and were there to vote on 10 items. 17 items were approved by the entire group, and those items are also in the agenda. We would ask that those be supported as well. Now, from a timing standpoint, the General Assembly goes back into session in early January. However, they then take about a 3-week break. So you have a couple of options. You could approve this tonight if you wished. You could table it to your January 8th meeting, or you could also make modifications to it as well and bring it back for the January 8th meeting. So happy to answer any questions you have about it, and happy to do whatever the will of council is on this.
Make the motion to table it to January.
Second.
Have a motion to table to January meeting. Any discussion? Have a motion to second. All in favor? Any opposed?
I have one question.
Yes.
We were waiting to see what the vote turned out to be on those 10 items they were going to move on to the legislature. I never got that. Did that come in?
They did. The league sent that as part of, I believe they actually sent an email to every member that was registered for the conference. So it may be that it could have gotten lost in a spam folder, but it did come in, and what we did is we attached that in your agenda. So the 17, so while we voted for 10, as you remember, I think there were 33 items.
It was 33, right.
And they took the top 17. And so that is what's in your agenda starting on page 3 of the legislative agenda. And so those are the 17 items that the league approved. So those 17 are there, and that's what ended up being approved. On Thursday, they provided it to us late on Friday. We had hoped for it a little earlier, but I think we got it about mid-afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay, I had a motion and a second to table the January meeting. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that was tabled at the January meeting. Okay, that took care of that. Item 21, ordinance amending the code of ordinance.
Mayor, what this is we've had discussions with you as a group over our insurance policies. And the city code does make it clear that at certain points, the city manager has authority to settle claims below $10,000. But what we have found is that with respect to some of your insurance, for example, the risk financing insurance through IRFNIC, through the league, also other insurance such as the airport operations coverage we have with Chubb Insurance, the insurance contracts and interlocal agreements that govern those give the insurer the right to settle the claims on their own. Given that, we determined that the appropriate course of action would be recommending a change to the city code that would allow the council to delegate its settlement authority under these insurance policies to those third parties, but only to the extent that they have the right, that they've been given the right to settle and pay claims on behalf of the city pursuant to a contract for insurance, interlocal agreement, or agreement between the city of Monroe and a third party. In other words, let's say that the contract for insurance says that they can settle claims up to $50,000 or $100,000 or more. That would be the authority they would have. So let's say, for example, there was a claim like you had a claim before recently where someone was contending potentially up to $2 million in damages. Ultimately, they found that the city wasn't liable in that case. So what you would end up with in a potential case like that is where there's a claim of $2 million, if they don't have the authority from the city as part of the insurance agreement to have $2 million in settlement authority, they couldn't settle something for $2 million. So let's say it said they had the authority to do it to $500,000. That's all they would have. So what we're asking is to go ahead and change the city code to add the second paragraph that we've put in section 1 of the ordinance that is attached. And if you do that, that should then allow us to resolve any of the issues that we have had with settlements that are dealt with by the league and with Chubb. And we think this is the appropriate thing to do from a staff perspective. This was taken to the General Services Committee, and the General Services Committee recommended taking the item to council with no recommendation because they recognized that was an issue that council had a concern about, and so wanted to have council discuss it without having it have a recommendation attached to it. I'm happy to discuss this. The recommendation from staff would be to approve this. We would, of course, make sure that our carriers ensure that the city council is notified of all claims. In fact, one thing that we have in the proposed ordinance is that any matters resolved that way will be timely reported to the city council, sort of the way that we already do when you receive notification of contracts the city enters into, settlements that the city manager has agreed to, anything like that. We would make sure that on a regular basis you receive that, and if you want any additional information, we of course always have to provide it. Happy to answer any questions council has.
Larry, are you comfortable with that?
Yes, sir. Our concern was more that y'all were aware of this belief of the league, and that we were somewhat a little sideways with it. We wanted to be able to work through it and be able to keep you all apprised.
Okay, I'll move we approve it.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion, a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass.
Thank you, council.
Item 22, recommendation of appointments, reappointments to committees. Mr. Anderson.
Citizens Appointment Committee met on December 3rd and recommends that council make the following appointments. ABC Board, reappoint Steve Louder to a full term. Charlotte Monroe Executive Airport Commission, reappoint Don Edwards to a full term. Charlotte Monroe Executive Airport Commission, reappoint Ken Hagler to a full term. Charlotte Monroe Executive Airport Commission, reappoint Robert Smith to a full term. And Charlotte Monroe Executive Airport Commission, appoint Gary Wolfong to a full-year term to replace Jim Plyler. Downtown Advisory Board, reappoint Heather Bostick to a full term. Downtown Advisory Board, reappoint Susan Radford to a full term. Monroe Historic District Commission, appoint Susan Sanga to a full term as an alternate member. Monroe Tourism Development Authority, reappoint Ron Brown to a full term as Arts Council representative. Monroe Tourism Development Authority, reappoint Chris Redfern to a full term as hotel representative. Planning Board, reappoint Vicki Green to a full term. Planning Board, appoint Renee Hardis to a full term. Public Safety Committee, reappoint Todd Price to a full term.
All right, is that a motion?
Make a motion to approve the ordinance and
Have a motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass. Okay, item 23, request by Union County to designate section of existing US 74 bypass by Monroe Expressway as US 74 business. Mr. Jim Lloyd.
Good evening.
Hello there.
The engineering department has been working with Warren Hanson, transportation planner, with Union County since September on an outreach to the businesses and residents located along the existing US 74 to determine interest in designating the section of existing US 74 bypass by the Monroe Expressway as US 74 business. Stallings and Indian Trail and Wingate also have participated in the outreach effort. Union County has identified a fear of lost business activity along the existing US 74 once the expressway opens. Before I proceed, I would like to offer some clarifications. State roadways have a route designation and an identifying numeric designation that also includes the road's classification. In most cases, the roads also have a local street identification name. Examples would be secondary roadways such as Charlotte Highway, which has a route designation as SR 1009. Main Street has a route designation of NC 207, and Roosevelt Boulevard has a route designation as US 74. In Charlotte, US 74 is known as Independence Boulevard. The bypass, US 74 toll, is also known as the Monroe Expressway. The route designation of US 74 business to the existing section of US 74 would affect addressing from Indian Trail to Wingate with one exception. Properties along the existing US 74 between Carroll Street and Seagrass Avenue are currently addressed using Roosevelt Boulevard, the local street name. The properties would still be affected by any change in traffic patterns. They just would not be required to change their address if we went to 74 business. To address the county's concern about lost business, they are proposing to rename existing US 74 as US 74 business, and the Monroe Expressway would be designated as US 74 toll. NCDOT has obtained the necessary approvals to designate the Monroe Expressway as US 74 bypass toll. Signage is currently posted in the field designating the existing highway as US 74 and the Monroe Expressway as US 74 bypass toll. The Monroe Expressway opened on Tuesday, November 27. That was just a week ago. You do have a copy of the survey results, and the comments are provided in your agenda package. Union County conducted a mailing to 320 properties along US 74 to inform them of the survey. Out of this, we had 104 responses were made. The survey questions were, do you support having an existing US 74 designated US 74 business versus leaving it as is? What kind of business do you operate? Where is your business located? Will your business suffer due to traffic diverted from US 74 to the expressway? If so, please explain how. Do you have any additional comments? And those results are in your package.
Would you not, Jim, have a sign at that 601 showing motels and restaurants and retail?
Well, that would be coming along the way too.
But I mean,
This
it
was
looked like
signage, yes.
you 601 business or 74 business is something, if you're traveling the bypass, you would want the people to know so they could get off and use it.
Yes.
But I read this that we're not going to do it, right?
Yeah, I'm recommending against calling existing US 74 US 74 business. Offhand, I really do not see any benefit from it. I really don't think the survey results that they received are reflective of the wishes of the quarter. Out of the, there was 320 properties involved, and out of that, we only received 104 responses.
Is there a way, is there a time frame that this needs to be done, or?
No, sir, and that's part of my recommendation. I would recommend that we just wait and see, and if something or additional information came forward.
I'm like Councilman Kazai, if I'm going, say, bypassing Rockingham,
yes,
and I decide that I want to go into Rockingham and get me a bite to eat, or go through there downtown, it would be helpful for me to see a sign saying business whatever, so that I would know that's where I need to get off if I want to go through the business area. And everybody going down the bypass are not going to know that this is where you get off if you want to go through some business areas of Monroe, and get hotels or stop at the QT or whatever the case might be. So I think that there needs to be some kind of designation. I'm not sure what that needs to be, but I think that we're going to, in my personal opinion, I think we're going to do a disservice to people who have businesses along highways, what we would know as Highway 74 business, if we don't have signage to tell people where to get off and go and participate in those businesses.
Yeah, but this conversation is not about having signage along the Monroe Expressway. It's about the designation.
Well,
there would be signage, at various exits directing people to, just like the outer loop around Charlotte, there's signage.
Maybe if I could say it differently, the issue really, I think, is renaming a road. So that I think the concern that I would have is, as a businessman on that road, is the cost of updating my letterhead, my business cards, the whole 9 yards. That's
well, but if you're not going to have traffic, I just think that we need to to take a look at it and you know, and make sure that we're doing what is in the best interest of the business.
But again, the signage is not so much is not the issue that we're saying is the problem. There'll be, whatever the road is called, there'll be signage. There's a movement, I think, with the county to rename a road. And so just the act of renaming the road, whatever it is, US 74 Business, if that was it, there's a cost to the folks along that road.
What?
That's the
Okay.
concern
All right.
that
For
we're-
instance, if someone is traveling to the beach and they're wanting to go through downtown Monroe, or if they're wanting to, you know, stop at a local restaurant, something like that, what sign coming off the bypass now will let them know this is where you need to get off? If that's, you know, to do that.
It's not a sign.
Well, we're whether it's US 74 Business or not, that concern exists. I think all we're talking about is whether or not to support renaming a road.
Okay, but what? Well, anyway, I think we need to look at it further, and you know, and talk with some, and maybe talk. What's the chamber? What does the chamber say about it?
I have not heard anything from the chamber.
You know,
We did have Indian Trail, they did respond, and they are not recommending going with that destination.
Okay. Well, and that's fine, but I think that on something like this, that the chamber would be the first place that you would check.
Yeah, the one thing we don't want to do is put our businesses out of business on the existing 74. And if I'm driving down the road and I see 74 Business, that right there is going to tell me that there's a place probably to eat, buy gas. I totally disagree with that.
Well, eventually there would be signage along the Monroe Expressway showing people what's happening if there's out, you know.
Yeah, but I don't see anything wrong with calling it 74 Business either, because now you want to take them off the bypass and put them back into your business area, which is what pays the taxes and pays your salary.
Who's who on the council or is staff just been working on this and working with the county trying to make this determination?
With the county, with Warren Hanson, with the county, their transportation planner. He's the one that brought this forward, and
I don't know.
we participated.
If it's not time sensitive,
County contacted us for.
if it is not time sensitive, I'm gonna make a motion that we table it.
I bet if you
for
put it out to the
information.
businesses, they'd wholeheartedly support it.
I second that motion.
What would be the date you tabled it to, so we have a date certain?
February, if it's not time sensitive.
I have a motion and I have a second to table this to the February meeting. Any discussion?
Is there, I think the Councilman Kazai, you know, would probably be a good council person to work with the staff and work, you know, with the county and maybe a county commissioner and just trying to get some consensus out of the two staff bodies and, you know, and two governing bodies on what needs to be done with this. If Councilman Kazai would work with you on that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I hope they'll ask, I'm sure they will, they work the chamber, well, put the chambers out on this, and I'm sure that'll come out. Okay, I have a motion and I have a second, all in favor? Aye, any opposed? Okay, that is tabled to February. Item 24, Ms. Loretta, have you signed up to speak? Would you like to come at this time and give us your name and address for the record? And if you could hold it about 3 minutes, we appreciate that.
My name's Loretta Melanson. I live on Meadow Creek Lane here in Monroe, and I think most everybody knows who I am. I represent Litter Busters, which is a community group, a citizens group, which was requested by representatives of the city and the county about 2 years ago when I held an initial meeting as a distressed citizen. I really worried about the situation with litter in our city and our county. Since then, Litter Busters has received a lot of support. We were told that you you, the city, would support our efforts and that the county would also support our efforts. And I have to say that many of you, and especially our mayor, has gone overboard supporting what we're trying to do. He was actually out there picking up trash with us at both a city litter sweep and a county litter sweep, and I thank you so much for that. I'm here tonight because I'm realizing that Litter Busters needs a bigger voice. What I'm asking you as our council is to think of ways that you can voice consideration for litter as a priority in this coming year, and probably it's going to take years to come to reverse what has happened. We have a lot of apathy. I think that some consequences are going to be necessary. In the past, it appears to me that people who litter, I know it's difficult. I've spoken with the police chief about this. It's difficult for those who can ticket to actually witness what is happening and then issue a ticket. I don't know how to solve that, but I do think there's got to be a way to impose consequences, or we're just going to keep going like we are, where people do not give the consideration about what litter does to the appearance of our city and to our pride. So I'm asking you as our council to consider ways that you can stir the community pride. Use the word litter. As I was coming in, I saw the sign with the American flag, and that's a beautiful flag. But I've been talking with Brian Bourne about getting that thing to work. It's a wonderful tool that could be putting out messages to people. And even if they just read it and then kind of forget it, it's gone into at least their subconscious. And if it repeats messages, eventually it'll get into the conscious. And this made me laugh. I could see it saying, have you been naughty or nice? Stash your trash, Monroe. I think we could bring humor into it, but what I'm asking for is your big voice. Litter Busters has a Facebook page. They've got me and several other people that talk about this continuously with other citizens and at every opportunity. The police department has introduced us to community groups, and we've had a lot of interest there. So thank you for all your support in the past, and
Thank you.
good night.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate what you do.
I know, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else who would like to address the council on the public comment period? If not hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, just before we do that, I would like to, we still have a member of the American Legion here. And I would, if there's anything that she would like to say to the council, I hope we would give her that opportunity. If not, that's fine. But I would like to thank the members of the American Legion that showed up here tonight. There's some misinformation that is going out to members of the American Legion that relates to the city council, and I want to have that addressed, and I want to get it corrected. They are a great organization, and they are an asset to this entire community, so I just hope that we can reverse what has happened.
Anyone who would like to address the council on the public comment period, this time. All right. You give us your name and address, please, for the record.
Good afternoon. I'm Fanny Young. My address is 201 Wilkes Drive, apartment G6 Monroe, and I'm past commander of Post 212. I'm currently the adjutant at Post 212, and there are a lot of contributions that we make to the city of Monroe. One of the things that we do on an annual basis is we have our 4th of July picnic, and everybody's invited to come. You know, you just show up and you eat, and we have good games and fun. Except for the members, we work hard. Everybody else has a good time. Of course, we do get to eat before it's over. Another thing is, on an annual basis, we feed the Monroe High School football team. That's one of the things that we take care of. Our primary objective, however, is to take care of our members, plus the families of our members. The thing about having veterans organizations is that we get some that are wounded, and once they become old, then we try to take care of them as best as we can. The thing, though, is it's become increasingly difficult to raise money to do the things that we need to do. And but we have great objectives. Our goal remains the same. And if you have any suggestions, anything that we can do to help make, I'm not even certain exactly what the problem is right now because I was late getting here. I had another meeting that ran over. But it's nice to hear a different tone coming from out of City Council, and I really do appreciate it. But if we can get together and work things out so that we want a smooth, coherent relationship with the City Council. Because, we're part of the city. Yes, I serve on the Monroe Housing Authority Board. I'm the chairman of that board. I've been there for several years. But I'm passionate about veterans because I am a veteran myself. I've lost a lot of good friends. Most of my World War II friends are gone, and that's what the organization started from, the World War II veterans. It came out of a convention, it was the veterans' desire to take care of each other, and the spouses and the whatever was left, they took care of each other. And we're trying to keep that same thing going. We're trying to take care of each other. And it's important as a veteran organization that we also do whatever good we can in the community, too. Thank you so much. I look forward to meeting with you again.
Thank you for your service.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for your service and
You're
what
welcome.
you do for the city of Monroe. We thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Anyone else who would like to address the council? All right, council have anything? This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a motion, have a second? All in favor? Adjourn.
Did a good job.
Thank you very much for my motion.